If you get the jitters even thinking about entertaining, especially for family at the holidays, this is the video for you. I've got a process that will help you keep calm, cool, and collected. So stay tuned. Hi everybody, and welcome back to Fun to Know with Carol. If you're new here, thanks so much for joining us. I always appreciate a like, a comment, a subscribe if you're finding value in the video. So I hope that's the case for you. You may be familiar with the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. It's been a very popular book. I taught 7 habits in 3 companies that I worked for, and I decided I would like to challenge myself to see if I could apply the 7 habits to holiday entertaining, because that's such a stressful time for many of us. So I'm not going to change the habits at all. I'm just going to tweak them a little bit and see how we can integrate them into our entertaining to make it much easier and less stressful. So let's begin with habit number 1. Habit 1 is to be proactive. Now you may be thinking that means get out there and do something, take the bull by the horns and just do anything. Actually, it's quite the opposite. It's about stepping back and practicing how you would like to respond rather than react in difficult situations. Maybe you don't have any control over the fact that Uncle Phil starts his political speechifying and your mother-in-law comes into the kitchen and wants to take over. Those things you don't have any control over, but you do have influence on how your mind looks at those, and when you practice responding in a way that is responsive instead of just a gut level reaction, that can really make the difference when it comes time to actually behave in a way that you're proud of. So habit number 1, being proactive. This is a habit you can do anywhere. You could sit on the couch and think through, how do I want my event to go? What do I want to be saying when Uncle Phil starts his political speechifying? Or how will I respond to my mother-in-law? These are the things that you do in habit number 1. You can take yourself to Starbucks and do this. It's really just a thoughtful habit. Habit number 2, begin with the end in mind. You don't need any special tools for the first habit. For the second habit, I would encourage you to just get a notebook, a planner, even just a few sheets of paper because you're going to use them. In your notebook, if you're following along, what I'd like you to do is create a page that's marked guests. And on this page, I'd like you just to write down all your guests, the people that you plan to invite, okay? Maybe they haven't confirmed yet, but you're going to invite them. And be specific. Don't just write family members. Put everybody's name down because you're going to come back to that a little later on. And then you're going to turn a page and you're going to put a general menu down. What is it generally that you're going to have at this event? And I'm going to call this event a dinner for simplification here. What's your general menu look like for this dinner? And then on a third page, you're going to write down what is your vision for this dinner, okay? And by vision, what I mean is, how do you want people to be leaving your dinner? What do you want them to be feeling? What do you want them to be saying? Think of some words and just jot them down in your book. So words like joyful, or laughter, or happiness, or peace, or calm, those kinds of words. I'd encourage you not to use negatively charged words. So instead of saying no arguing, no stress, okay? I know what you mean by those, but your brain doesn't. Your brain hears arguing and stress, and that's what it's going to zero in on. So instead, what's the opposite of arguing? Well, it's peace, okay? So maybe you write down peaceful conversations, or instead of stress, it's calm, okay? So choose the positive, and that's then what your brain can focus on. That's beginning with the end in mind, how you want people leaving your dinner. Habit number 2. All right, now habit number 3 is to put first things first. This is where we get to break down some of your general outline in your notebook and get it very workable. Now, you may be thinking, well, those first 2 habits, those are just thinking habits. I don't really need to do those. You really need to spend some time on habits 1 and 2 if habit number 3 is going to be successful for you. So in your notebook, this is where you're going to prioritize the things that are going to make it work for you and make it very easy. Okay, so on a clean sheet, what you'd want to do is start the beginning of a timeline. If you've not made a timeline before, the New York Times has a great little article that I'll link in the description box below called How to Host a Dinner Party. And it lays out all the different events and when those things should happen. I can't touch on all of them here, but I'll just give you an example. So maybe you've got a page or a column marked 3 weeks before. 3 weeks before, you're going to want to confirm who's coming to your dinner party. If you need to buy some table decor, or if you need to think through seating, how is that going to happen? That could all happen 3 weeks before. 2 weeks before, you're going to want to decide on some music, perhaps. That's something that could be done well in advance. You'd want to finalize your menu. So maybe on your general menu, you've just put side dishes. Well, let's decide what are those side dishes going to be. Then you'd have a column or a page for 1 week before, 3 days before, 2 days before, 1 day before, and you just spread those things out. And then one of the most important things is you don't need to worry about the 2 days before items when it's 2 weeks before. Okay, leave those on that page or in that column. You don't need to worry about those if you've placed them properly. Now, how this applies from the habits is putting first things first. What first means, that word, that means those things that are not the most urgent, not the things that are going to happen today, but the things that are the highest priority for you. Those are the most important things. Those are the first things. So make sure that those things are placed in your timeline, someplace where they're going to get taken care of at the appropriate time. Habit 3, put first things first. Habit number 4 is to think win-win. The previous habit was a lot of work filling out that timeline, but now you get to see if there are some people that can help you, okay? Thinking win-win means that not only is something a win for you, you get the advantage, but it also gives the other person an advantage. This is why I wanted you to write people's names down when it comes to your invitees, okay? So let's say under your menu, you've got pies as your desired dessert. Is there someone on your guest list that you could ask to bring pies? Maybe there's someone who has pie as a specialty. The reason we get tripped up so often with entertaining is because ego gets in the way and we think, this is my party, these are my guests, I need to do everything myself. And it's amazing, people want to step in and help. So give them an opportunity to do that. Don't take that away from them. Or maybe it's a win-win for you and a business. If you have flowers, let's say, that you're going to be putting on the table, you're buying those a couple days in advance, and maybe you can buy them in a vase already arranged for a few extra dollars, which would be a win for you because you're not especially skilled at that, and you don't have to spend time hunting for a vase. Okay, so that's a win-win. Saves you time, gives business to that local business. That's what thinking win-win is all about. Go back to your timeline and see if there are things that you can think win-win on. Either someone else can help you or another business can help you to take some of that stress away and make it much, much easier. Habit number 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Of course you want your guests to understand what's going on with you, but it's really more important for you to understand what's going on with them. Is there someone who needs to be more included? Can you put a couple of people together so that they can talk about a common interest? Or maybe there's someone who needs to chill a little bit. Can you set them off on a task to do so that they can have a little downtime? And it's important to listen to yourself as well. Do you need a little downtime? It's certainly okay for you to excuse yourself and take a call off in the other room if you just need to take a deep breath or two and chill a little bit and not feel quite so overwhelmed. That's quite all right. Habit number 5 is really the listening habit. Listen to your guests, listen to yourself. Habit number 6 is to synergize. This is really the habit where 2 + 2 is much more than 4. When you put people together in a way that shares their talents and skills, you get results that are amazing. Here's what a good friend of mine does. She's got cards made up with some basic tasks of some of the dishes that she's going to make. She gives the card to the person who wants to help in the kitchen, and they know what their job is when it comes to the appointed time. This might be a place to go back to your notebook and look over your guest list. Think through who might be a good candidate to take on mashing the potatoes, let's say. So what's the greater result that happens? What's the synergy that happens there? Well, she has less stress in the kitchen, and the other people who want to help are feeling included. It really is a win-win with some synergy. And now the final habit, sharpen the saw. This is really about taking care of yourself physically, mentally, socially, emotionally, spiritually, so that you can take care of other people. But for purposes of entertaining, I'm going to talk about it in terms of sharpening the knife. This is the electric knife that my husband and I were given as a wedding gift 50 years ago, and I still use it just a couple of times a year. But if you're trying to artfully carve a turkey or a ham or some other protein, it doesn't do very well when that knife isn't sharpened. It takes a lot more time, takes a lot more energy, and just not as good an end result. But when the knife is sharpened, that's when you get the results that you're looking for. You might be saying, "Oh, I don't have time for this." You don't have time to sharpen your knife so that you can save time in the end? That's what sharpening the saw is all about. You might look back on some of the habits that we've talked about and say, "Oh, I don't have time for that." Really, thinking through some of these habits is sharpening the saw for you. It's a mental exercise that's going to pay off in the long run, or it's writing in the notebook that's going to pay off in the long run. That's sharpening the saw. Entertaining can be enjoyable, fun, and stress-free. Don't let the lack of a habit keep you from establishing a great holiday tradition. And your guests will be leaving your house full of those good feelings that you wrote down when you began with the end in mind in habit number 2. Let me know how it goes in the comments below, and I'll be sharing a new holiday-focused video right there for you to take a look at next Tuesday. Thanks for joining me. Have a great week ahead.